Hi, this is Bill Watkins. Thanks for spending some time with me in the book of Job. We've looked at chapters 1 and 2 where Satan attacked Job and caused him to be poverty-stricken and then takes away his health. We've looked at his friends coming and how they share in his grief and wisely say nothing but just sit with him for 7 days. And then Job decides it's time to speak. And this is what he says. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. Do you remember in chapter 1 and in chapter 2, Satan said if you take the hedge away from him, he will curse you to your face. And then he tells him, skin for skin, all that a man has he'll give for his life. Take away his health, strike him in his flesh and his bone, and he will curse you to his face, to your face. Job never curses God. He does curse something, though. What does he curse? Well, he doesn't curse God. He doesn't curse his friends. He doesn't curse his circumstances. And he doesn't curse himself. This is really important. When you're going through grief, sometimes you strike out at people. Job did not do that. There's a powerful thing here. What is it that he cursed? It says in verse 1, he cursed the day of his birth. Now listen to what he said. Let the day perish on which I was born, and the night that said a man is conceived. Let that day be darkness. May God above not seek it, nor light shine upon it. Let gloom and deep darkness claim it. Let clouds dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. That night let thick darkness seize it. Let it not rejoice among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Let that night be barren. Let no joyful cry enter it. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to rouse up Leviathan. Let the stars of its dawn be dark. Let it hope for light, but have none, nor see the eyelids of the morning, because it did not shut the doors of my mother's womb, nor hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not die at birth, come out from the womb and expire? What's he saying when he curses the day of his birth? He's saying this, why in the world am I even alive? If this is the way life is, wouldn't it have been better if I had never been born? If that day my mother had cried because I was born dead, he said my life would be so much better. When you're in the middle of grief, that's the way that it feels. Have you ever been sick for a long time and it begins to feel like you've been sick all your life? Have you ever been in the middle of real grief and it feels like there's never been a day of joy in your whole life? That's not true, but it's the way that it feels. It's just the way that it feels. What Job could not see was all the good that he had done before the day that Satan took everything away. He had not remembered all of that. It's just that his grief is so great, his pain is so great, he wished he was dead. Can I tell you something? I'm not so sure that God condemns us when we begin to say, I wish I had never been born. He understands who we are. He understands the grief that we're going through. He knows what all of that means. And so he had a reason for Job being alive, but right now Job doesn't see it. And he's not going to see it for a long time to come. I think now I would like for God to have opened up the book and said, look, Job, here's your story. And he can see the whole thing. But when you're in the middle of it, you can't see the whole thing. Life is an incredible adventure, but let me tell you about adventures. When you're in the middle of an adventure, there's a name for it. It's called trouble. Trouble is adventure when I look back on it, but in the middle of it, it's the worst. Hang on and don't let go in the day of your trouble. Believe that God has a purpose, that God makes everything work together for good to those who love him and are called according to his purpose. But in doing that, it feels so painful. It feels so alone. There are days it feels like your prayer is not getting past the ceiling. Job says something else toward the end of this chapter. He said, the thing that I fear comes upon me. Sometimes what you fear is drawn to you. I don't know why that is. But the thing that we fear the most, I remember talking to a man that said, the one thing I fear the most is losing my mind. And guess what? At the end of his life, that's exactly what happened. Sometimes the thing we're most afraid of happens to us. Why? I don't know. But I can tell you this. whatever it is that you're most afraid of when it does happen and you get out on the other side, you realize it wasn't something that you should have feared so much. God sometimes makes us face our fears to tell us that there's something bigger and better than what we're afraid of. Our time is up. Thanks for watching.